One of the things that people say to me the most is, me as a teacher, I can teach in lessons and I can do all sorts of different things, right? But what they'll do is they'll say, "Sir, how do I actually revise?" And you know what, it is difficult, right? Because it's not something that kind of comes natural, right? So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm just going to try and run through sort of a few of the concepts about how to actually revise and actually get better at it. Now, firstly, where do I revise? What you've got to do is you've got to find somewhere at home that is quiet. All right. If you've got a madhouse, I know I've got a madhouse at home, you need to try and find a room that's quiet and you need to talk to people and you say, "I'm trying to revise here, can you please just help me out a little bit?" You need to be on your own, right? "Oh, I revise better when I'm with my friend." You don't. The only people you might actually be able to revise better with is your parents, because they're actually testing you. Sometimes if it's noisy, right, or there's a lot of noise distraction on the street outside, or the dog's barking next door, or whatever it is, I have to admit, I used to put music on. I used to put music on that I didn't particularly like, and this is going to sound very harsh to people that like classical music. I used to put classical music on because I didn't really like it, so I didn't kind of tap my feet to it and sing along to it, right? But what it did, it kind of drowned out in a pleasant way all the local noise. Or there's noise reducing headphones that you can get. And when I go to sleep at night, I put white noise on, which is like kind of like rain sounds. If any of those things help, what you just got to do is you've got to experiment to find the best thing for you, right? But it needs to be in a room, away from as many people as you possibly can, on your own, and it needs to be quiet. Your phone, right? Your phone is make or break for your exams. It is make or break. I strongly suggest what you do is you turn it off and you leave it downstairs in the kitchen. Okay, because all you want to do all the time is, "Oh, has anybody messaged me? Oh, what's happened there?" Right? And all you be is you're just interested in that. You got to have the willpower to get rid of it for an hour, right? 2 hours, 3 hours. You know, you come to school every day and you don't use your phone, right? And that is 5, 6 hours a day, right? So what you need to do is that phone will make or break your exams. Put it downstairs, turn it off. You're never going to miss out on anything. Right? All it's just going to do is just going to delay you finding out a little bit of rubbish gossip that's going on. All right? Put it away. When do you start? You need to start in January. Okay? So you're revising for your Year 11 exams, you need to start in January. If you're revising maybe for your Year 7, 8, 9, 10 end of year exams, maybe February. February half term is probably not a bad idea. Okay? But for Year 11, you need to start in January. You need to set out your plan, right? So whatever plan you've been given, right, you then need to make sure that you understand exactly how the plan's working and exactly what you're going to do with it. You then commit. You are going to say, "I am going to do this then." All right, it's all on your timetable, so you just do it, right? And if something crops up that then means you've got an opportunity to do something else, you just say, "No, sorry, my plan is this, I'm going to do this." And I think that one of the hardest things about actually revising is starting. It's like you just kind of put it off and you put it off and you put it off until you start, and then you just follow your plan and you're committed and you do whatever it takes, because ultimately it's life-changing. Okay, so you're following your plan, you've started. What you do is you set times. I'm going to start at 5 o'clock. Right? I'm going to start at 4 o'clock. I'm going to start at whatever time it is. You set times that you're going to do it. Take breaks. Don't necessarily say, "I'm going to work for 45 minutes and then I'm going to take a break." You work as long as it needs to be, right, to finish a section of work that you're doing. So it could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour and a half. Also, don't give up. Don't say, "Oh my God, this is an absolute nightmare." Yeah, it is tough. I know it's tough. All right, but we've all done it, we've all gone through it. So what you need to do is you need to just make sure that you just don't give up. All right, if you get to the point where you're thinking, "Oh my God, this is just horrendous," just go and walk around the house, go and walk down the street, go for a run, do a little bit of exercise. I used to, in my breaks when I was actually revising, I used to do press-ups. I know you can't really tell it now, but I used to do like 50 press-ups. All right, and then not only was it kind of invigorating me, it was kind of like a break. If you have a job, right, I understand it. I understand Year 11s having jobs and Year 10s might have jobs because you want the money, right? My absolute 100% advice to you is when you start revising, either quit or ask if you can carry on after your exams. An employer, right, is going to be absolutely fine about it. And if you think you're going to finish your exams mid-June, right, then you've got the whole of the summer to do as many hours you can possibly do to make money, right? Because these GCSEs is what's going to make you earn money in the future. Now, on particularly with science revision. Now, what I've tried to do, right, and on this YouTube channel, Mr. Leek Science, I've tried to then put all the different bits of information on that you then need to be able to revise effectively. And personally, I know I've done it, but I think it's very, very good, right? And if you can then look through it and you can actually understand exactly the way that the actual revision is then put on there, then you're going to do amazing. Now, from a science point of view, what to revise? You'll have your plan, right? You'll have all the units, you'll have all that set out, right? You'll have all your times, all your dates, because you've planned it all out. Use the knowledge booklets, okay? The knowledge booklets that you've then been given, right? Which is exactly the same as the kind of little videos that you've got. They look a little bit like this in the bottom corner here, right? Which is where it's loads and loads of just facts, questions, lists, right? You use those and you learn them. And on there, what you've got is you've got a video that then shows them all filled in, and then you've got a video there that shows them empty. And what I suggest you do is you go through it, remember it, and then you play the video that then is empty. And theoretically, you should probably do the video that's empty maybe 3 times, right? And then the video that's full only once, even though you've just got to keep on checking it. Science is very keyword orientated, particularly biology. So also at the end of each one of those knowledge tests is a video that shows you all the keywords. Now there is loads and loads of others, right, but it's kind of like the main keywords. Memorize the facts, memorize it, right? In this bottom corner here, it looks like it is anaerobic respiration. Learn it. On a piece of paper, you write anaerobic respiration and you write out the equation, and then you do it again. Physics equations. This year, you need to be familiar with them. So you need to get your equation sheet out, right? And what you need to do is you need to be familiar with them. It's never going to do you any harm if you actually learn them, because then you're going to be even more familiar with them. And if you're even more familiar with them, you're going to be able to use them better. I'm going to repeat it again. Write down, test yourself. Okay? You've got your questions, go to a blank video, test yourself, test yourself, test yourself. You just got to keep on repeating and writing it down. Those people say, I learn best by reading. Yeah, you will learn a bit by reading, but very, very tiny little fraction compared to read it, write it, repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, without any shadow of a doubt, that is the best way of doing it, is write down, repeat. And I've then put on there, repeat, right? Just do it all again, just repeat it. In science, the required practicals are absolutely vital. Right, there's approximately 21, 22 of them, right? And then for triple science, there's about an extra 10, right? What you've got to do is you've got to know them inside out, because I would say half of them are going to be on your exam in some way. It'll usually start with investigate. And as soon as it says investigate, you know then it's going to be a required practical. You must know for every single required practical, the equipment, the method, the diagram, any numbers that may well be involved. So if it's something to do with concentration of sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, you say 30 centimeters. The variables. Don't mess in class. Stay calm. Dependent variable is what you measure in the practical itself. Right, so if you're measuring the time, it's the time that you're measuring. It's what you actually measure in that one individual practical. The independent variable is what you change. So you do the first practical, and then what you do is you change something. That's your independent variable. Then you change something again, which is your independent variable. Stay calm is your control. They are all the things that stay the same, right, between every single little practical that you do. Then, this is then the bit that everybody always forgets. What do you do with your results? You've done the whole practical, right? Oh, fantastic, I've written the best method ever, 6-mark question, best methods, right? Nobody can do it. I've put numbers in, I've done the variables, I've done everything. You're still only going to get 3, 4 out of 6. Say what you're going to do with your results. You're going to record them on a table. Write down what is your calculation that you're going to do. Are you going to do a mean? Are you going to use an equation? Are you going to use V equals IR, an electricity one? Are you going to do the specific heat capacity equation? Right? What is it you're going to do with those results? Even if they're not asking for it, you write it down anyway. And then you're going to say, I have done a mean, and then I'm going to plot a graph, a line graph. I have done a specific heat capacity of these different things. I'm going to do a bar chart. Right? Whatever the appropriate graph is. Okay? The osmosis practical, there's the graph for it. You're going to draw a line like that. Okay? So you recorded your results. Then you've done a calculation, which is probably a mean, right? You've done a percentage change, right? Which then goes down this side here, and then you've got your concentrations that go along there. Then you plot your graph. And that's kind of the process for every single required practical. Some are more detailed than others, but that is the best way to go. And again, all the required practicals are on my YouTube channel. So Mr. Leek, right, science. Go on the YouTube, find the playlist that can't even spell science, right? Find the playlist that then talks about required practicals. You've got to know them. Skills, right? Now, what you're going to be doing in lessons is a huge amount, and what you need to do at home is you need to practice your skills. Google GCSE graphs and interpret them, right? Look for patterns, look for things that you've got to do. Data, Google, find tables, right? And then just kind of understand exactly what a table's talking about and come up with some conclusions from it. Math skills, right, particularly formula, right, and using the formulas, right. And again, on my YouTube channel, there's 8 videos that go through practicing equations. Mean, median, mode. Very surprised if median comes up. Very surprised if mode comes up. But mean could well do. Add and divide. Know your units, right. GCSE units, you need to know them all. Significant figures, decimal places, standard form, right? They are standard things. There will be one question somewhere on your exam that will then say, do it to 3 significant figures, do it to 4 decimal places. Well, it won't be 4, 2 decimal places. Make sure you understand exactly what they're talking about. Standard form, right? Now, if you don't know how to work out standard form manually, make sure you know the button on your calculator. Okay. Final thing, any question ever comes up that says approve, talk about peer review or repeat. Now, command words. There's a double-sided page of command words that you can get from the exam boards, right? But these are then the 4 main ones. Calculate means you are going to do a sum. Describe means you're going to sort of say some facts. Explain means you're going to describe, and then you're going to kind of do a so, a therefore, oh, it doesn't write on there, therefore, and, or a because. Okay, so what you do is you say blah, 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 which is your kind of describe, and then your explain is then because of this. Therefore, this happens. So, this. Compare are then brilliant. So what you do with compare is you say, for example, an artery is high pressure. A vein is low pressure. An artery has a small lumen. A vein has a large lumen. And what you do is you compare, you just go from one to another. You don't do a list, because that isn't comparing. A list is a list. You just do 2 lists. Compare is one to another. So they are 4 of the main kind of key command words. Now repeat everything again. Right, just go over it all again. Just go through all the videos again. Right, go through all your notes again. Make sure you're just writing everything down. Just keep on doing it over and over again. Now, once you've started to get all that information in your head, you need to practice exams. Without any shadow of a doubt, the best way of passing a maths exam is to practice maths questions and find out how you got wrong. Exactly the same thing in science. Right, you're going to be getting loads and loads and loads, right, from your teachers' practice exam questions. If you want more, Google it. Just Google and just go on and try and find as many past exam questions as you possibly can. And AQA is the best thing to be looking for, because that is then the example that you are then going to be doing. AQA combined biology higher exam papers. All right, and you'll find websites out there that have got loads and loads. On my YouTube, there is 6 exam question or exam papers. Right, so the 6 foundation, 6 higher, 6 triple. Right, now what they are is they're then done as a blank exam and a walkthrough. They are then part of the kind of the timetable process, but also you're going to be getting lots and lots of other exam questions everywhere. And what I've then written here is decode. All right, you always answer the question that is being asked. Right, you don't answer the question that you are wanting to be asked. You answer the question that is actually sat there in front of you. So, for example, in electrolysis, right, what you do is you've got electrolysis. There's your beaker. There's your electrodes that are going in there, right, and you know that chlorine is Cl. Chlorine gas is given off from that electrode. The question says, what is your observation? You say, chlorine is given off. That isn't your observation. Your observation is what you see. So read the question and interpret exactly what that question is actually asking you. Reward yourself. Okay, I think you all deserve little stars. You should get a little star chart. Just think about what you reward yourself with, right? Get yourself a box of chocolates, and if you do all your revision for that day, give yourself a box of chocolates or whatever it may well be. Okay, but make sure there's something at the end of it. If you finish a day, if you finish a week, that you then are going to kind of almost give yourself this, right? No harm in talking to your parents and seeing what they'll do. Now, there is tons and tons, I said this right at the very start, there's tons and tons and tons of help on my YouTube channel, right? Mr. Leek Science, right? Just look it up, right? And then just kind of work out exactly how all the playlists work, right? And if you can follow everything on there and you use everything on there, then you're going to do amazing.